Drive on, first platoon.
Drive on, first platoon.
Drive on, first platoon.
Drive on, first platoon.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Bullets flying all around.
Bullets flying all around.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Second platoon will bring you home.
Second platoon will bring you home.
Drive on, second platoon.
Drive on, second platoon.
Drive on, second platoon.
Drive on, second platoon.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Bullets flying all around.
Bullets flying all around.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Third platoon will bring you home.
Third platoon will bring you home.
Drive on, third platoon.
Drive on, third platoon.
Drive on, third platoon.
Drive on, third platoon.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Way out there in a combat zone.
Way out there in a combat zone.
Bullets flying all around.
Bullets flying all around.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
All your buddies will bring you home.
All your buddies will bring you home.
What's good? What's good, YouTube? I'm back late night tonight. And see in the title, I'm talking about what's the difference between being enlisted or officer. Basically, it's simple as that. Enlisted is like the workers, officers is like the sub managers and managers of the company. Generals, which would be particular like the senior officers would be like, the boardroom members, all the way to, 1-star general to the 4-star general. So basically that was those position roles are. Then you got your NCOs, non-commissioned officers, E4-ish to like E probably 7. Because the non-commissioned officers, all non-commissioned officers is E4 all the way up to E9, regardless. So but you're like your E8s and E9s, those are like, your command sergeant majors and all of that good stuff. They really don't, manage per se. They works with the officers, with all ranks of the officers. They want to make sure all the listed people are in good standing and things of that. So let's see. Which route should you go? Enlisted or the officer route? Well, the enlisted route is pretty simple. Come out of high school, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got no degree. You basically barely got any college credit. So what you trying to do with that? You come in the ranks, as an E1, basically what they call a fuzzy, no rank at all, and you just work your way up. What they say, E1 to E2 is 3 months, E2 to E3 is 6 months automatic, E3 to E4 is 2 years. That's how you get in the enlisted ranks. Now, to get in the officer ranks is pretty simple. You just go to college, got your college degree in that field, and you do about that. So your college route is like this. You could go through ROTC and you could potentially do your 4 years in college and be in the Army at the same time, but you got a commission after you graduate. You automatically have to sign a 6-year ROTC graduation commission where you sign that contract for 6 years automatically. And then you really don't pick your job when you are in a officer role because they fit you in somewhere. They fit you in the needs of the army because even though you're 1% in the army, you are 0.001% in the officer rank because there's more enlisted personnel than officer personnel. So between O-1 and O-3, which are field grade levels, your second lieutenant, your first lieutenant, and your captain. Your captain is in charge of the whole company. Your first and second lieutenant could be the XO and just the company's go-to person on the officer side. While in the enlisted ranks from E1 to E4, you're private. You ain't got nothing. You don't got no experience. You just there. You're there to get job skills, learn skills, and all of that good stuff. So can you det- how can you go about going the right route for yourself? Okay. So if you plan on going to college right after high school, see a see the recruiter. Say, hey, I got accepted to this college. How can I go about joining the army? But I really don't want to be in the enlisted side. They're gonna ask you why. Well, you can say I see myself as a leader. I don't see myself taking orders or being the one, at the grunt, what they call grunt work. I mean, either way, second lieutenant, you are a leader, but you're still the bottom of the officer side. You're still going to be told what to do regardless from the higher up. Unless you're a four-star general, nobody can really tell you what to do besides the president and the chief of staff. That's about it. And then the general could become the fifth star general as long as if there's a war, but that's here or there. So let's go back on track. So you come out of high school and you have credits, college, because there's some schools that have college credits, and you will go there and learn in high school, and then you probably have the minimum to go ROTC route is 60 credits because if you get 60 credits, that's half the time, and the other half, the army is going to pay for you to go to school. Not only pay for you to go to school, they're going to give you money to go to school. That's what they call the kicker. And in this kicker, it helps you get extra money pay. Like you could be a civilian still, but you could go to a National Guard unit, or you could go to a reserve unit and learn, from the National Guard, do your drills once a weekend until you become, if you go that active duty route, or you go to reserve National Guard route. It just depends on what you want to be, what you can pick for your poison. For the ROTC. Now for the enlisted route, if you don't want to go to school and you don't plan on going to school anytime soon, just take your butt to the recruiter. Say, hey, sign me up. I just need to get up out of here. I'm in a bad situation. I ain't got no home. I'm homeless. And I need some place to do something, make something of myself, get money, travel the world, meet new people, because if you don't know, the army will put you in a hotel if you are committed on joining and if you are homeless, from what I was told. Because I heard something about this in the past where this guy was on a run from some other rival gang members, and he just didn't want to do the life no more. And with the gang member life, you know how that goes. There's one or two ways to get in and get out. And so what he did was he went to the recruiter and said, "Hey, I don't got no priors or nothing. I don't got no place to stay. I want to join the army. What can I do to get this ball rolling to get up out of here?" And what I was told from this story was when he did that, he did all his paperwork, and the army has a budget of where they put people for hotels, and they put this guy in the hotel for like almost 3 weeks until his time for his ship out date. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard, and that's what I was told. So that's what I'm gonna go with for now because I never asked the recruiter that myself, but I will ask them once I get a recruiter on. I'm gonna try to get a recruiter on. So whether he was what they was told me he did was once he did his maps and all that stuff, he left in a month. And if you leave in a month and you sign your contract, you get another bonus. So that's the extra money he got. He put him in a hotel because he was homeless and he was on the run from gang members, and He probably doing good now. Who knows? So when you go through the enlisted side and you get some, rank up, like I say E4 to E5, and you want to go the officer route, you could do it two ways, right? Well, you could do it really three ways. One is say, hey, I want to take some college credits. I want to do ROTC. Boom, I already explained what ROTC was. You could do a green and gold package, but I think the green and gold package is you gotta have your degree or planning on getting it, within the length of time because the green and gold package is a lengthy process, what I was told. And that's the second option. Now, the third option is you got your degree already, but you went the listed route. So you've been a listed route, you automatically is an E4 in the Army. In other branches, from the previous interviews I did, if you are in the Navy, they won't start you as an E4, they'll start you as an E3. Air Force, um, they start you as a E2, I think, from what I was told. And the Navy, like I said, the Navy starts you as an E3. So the Army starts you as an E4. That's extra money. It's not a lot, but it's something. This guy in my company at basic training, he was an E4, and his MOS was O-9 Sierra, which is Officer Candidate School, which is OCS. So throughout basic training, they always pick leaders to become the PG. He's the only person in all the four platoons that stayed the PG the whole 10 weeks because he was going to officer school. He needed that leadership, and being a PG is a leadership role. So since he's the PG, he kind of Leslie the is the squad go-to person. From my previous videos, I talked about what the role of the PG. So he did the OCS route, and he was think National Guard of Reserves. And it's two ways to do OCS. You could do the straight 12-week course of OCS, or you could do the 18-month every week, and once a month drill thing. It's like drill. So you go to OCS once a month, but it's it's a waste of time to do OCS 12 months. No, 18 months. Why do you just do it 18 months and just get it over for 12 weeks? Hold on one second. I got a question here. Screen Learner said if you join with the college degree, you have options. It's better to get a loan from college degree and school you want. The best restrictions to the schools and degrees, the 911 bill, ROTC will limit you. Um, I'm not too much understanding what you are saying. If you join with a college degree, you have options. It's better to get a loan for a no, don't get no loans. No, because why would you get a loan and be indebted, you know, to whatever lender you are instead of doing that? Just go whatever military branch. They're gonna pay for you to go to college. You won't have a loan. That won't show up on your credit report. Like I got loans and I'm trying to get that off my credit report. I didn't go to officer route. I'm still in college. Let me see. Better get a loan for your college degree at the school you want. The best restriction to the school and degrees from the layout. ROTC wouldn't limit you because say you go to a community college, right? The community college, might not have ROTC, but you in college. You go to what is a ROTC hub unit, and like, okay, let me give you an example. So I'm in South Carolina. The main college here is South Carolina Gamecocks, right? And there's other schools that's connected to that ROTC hub, like Allen University, Benedict College, Newberry, and Coastal Carolina. You don't have to go to South Carolina College to go to ROTC. You got participating hubs you could go to. As long as you have an ROTC hub in that state or area you in, you could go to any college. Now, say you go to a community college, like I'm using South Carolina as an example. It has a college called Enlisted. It's a technical college, but it is still a college. You get a 2-year degree or you get a 4-year degree, depending on whatever technical field you want. Now, you sign up for that school, you get accepted to that school. That's what they'll tell you. The recruiters will tell you get accepted to that school, and then say, hey, you could go to the recruiter or you go to the hub, the South Carolina hub. I mean, not South Carolina. I'm using that for example. Go to the ROTC hub and say, hey, I want to and go into ROTC. They're gonna look how many credits you got. Make sure you got over 60. Make sure you have that straight. You got a GT of 110 or better. They're gonna look at all of that, and it's like, okay, we'll put in the ROTC packet for you. The next, you do the ROTC with them. They'll put you into a unit, a local unit. You'll be considered a cadet. That's what they considered you as, and you'll get you'll get E5 pay, and the rank structure is different. I didn't know this, but they have something like a circle rank, and that's considered cadet. Hold on, let me see. He got another question. You'll be indebted to Uncle Sam and the needs of the military branches you choose. You may not like the job unit, the military bases they'll send you to. You have no choice, not even the years you serve. Now, if you're in the officer route, yes, you don't have say so where you're going to go to because the officer, you are commissioned to them. So the officer, yes, you are strictly to them and you got to sign a 6-year contract regardless. You might could go to freaking West Polk, Louisiana for all you care for. They could send you to Hawaii. It just depends on what they got at the time. Now, if you're on the enlisted side, it's a little bit different. Now, on the enlisted side, you pick your job. Well, in the Army, you pick your job. The Air Force, you have a dream sheet. The Navy, you got a dream sheet. I think the Marines got a dream sheet, but whatever your score is, and you qualify for whatever job you got, and you see what they got in the job list, and you say, "Hey, I want that job." You pick that job, you get that job. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that job. Now you will know off the hand if you're going to what basic training you're going to or what AIT. For me, I decided what AIT I wanted to go to. I decided what basic training I wanted to. I did not want to go to Missouri. I did not want to go to damn sure Fort Benning because I heard they hills suck. And you know, what's the other one? Bennett, Missouri, Oklahoma. I ain't trying to go to no damn Oklahoma. So it's like South Carolina would be best because all my family and friends is over here. So that's good for me. But like I said, in the enlisted side, you can pick. You might not get what you want, but on the second go around, you can get what you want once you get to AIT and you figure out what's your dream sheet of where you want to go if you active duty. If you're National Guard, you know you're going back home. If you're reserve, you know you're going back home. So that's it for you for that. But the officer side, you really don't pick. They pick for you. Once you get that as that score, officer score, you go from there about that because like I said, the officers are 0.001%, so that's how it is. So back to what I was saying, the green to go, you put in the packet for that. Um, what else? The ROTC route and a direct commission, meaning say you was in the medical field, you was in the dentist, something that you was in for a long period of time and you had a degree. Say you went to, dental school, medical school, a lawyer, JAG program, automatically that's what is called the direct commission. That's a way you could be an officer. So who has it better? I would say the enlisted has it better. But if you don't want to be an enlisted and you see, and actually the officer, even though they don't have it better choices, they have it better living conditions because the officers has nicer things. Like if you were in the Navy, I was looking at videos in Navy, the racks that they stay in is like, ooh, I can't sleep like that. But the officer, they might be like on a submarine, 10 officers. They each 10 officers may have to share a rack with another officer, but the listed got to share with the whole or the listed, everybody in the listed. In the Navy, that's in the Navy. In the Army, you get your own living area. Of course, the officers' living area is going to be better. It's going to be better all around. The Air Force, everything's better in the Air Force, regardless if you're enlisted or not. That's what I want to transfer, but that's a couple of things here or there. So he got another question. Hold on. Okay. I was an 88 mite in the regular army then, and at the end of my contract, went to the Army Officer Candidate School. I was able to pick my branch, duty section, and career path. RTC and waypoints had less options. I was able to pick. Okay. Officer Candidate School. See, do you want to come up and we can have this discussion in real time, you and I? No trouble. I just want to pick your brain if you want to. I'm going to send you the invite because I wasn't planning on being a full hangout, but like to get your partake if you got some time. Put the link right there for you. Okay. See, that's my deal. I don't know which route would be best for me. I don't really want to go to officer candidate school because it's like basic training again, and basically PT on your own time for the National Guard is better. But I want to go after duty. The green to go package will be good because I'm an E3 and I'm working my ranks up. And then once I get to go to board as an E5, I really don't want to be an E5 going to the board. I want to go. I want to go in as an E4 and do my green to go packet. I was thinking about ROTC for a second because I could necessarily go to school and do the thing at my National Guard unit. I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the fence between the green and gold packet and the ROTC because I don't want to go to officer candidate school. Like you said, I can't. It will take me a few minutes after. Oh, so you say I can? It will take me. Okay, well, take your time. While you do that, I want to keep finish about this video. So, okay, so back to my original thought. Like I said, in all, the listed has it better, but the officer side is where is it at? Trust me, it is so satisfying to see a drill sergeant go to parade rest to a second lieutenant. And he just what 24 years old. You know how hard it is to become go to drill sergeant school, and what drill sergeants are probably you get E6 within you could get it within under 10 years, depending on if you're on your game or not. The E6 is probably what after 18, probably in his late 20s to early 30s, and depending on that, you got like a 24-year-old tell you what to do, and you're almost like 36 years old. Like, not everybody becomes an E7. Like, I heard that the E7 is a hard rate to get, but once you get to E7, E8 and E9 is good to pick up because I think as an E7 and E9, you about got like 18 to 20 years left. I mean, 18, you be 18 years in the hole to almost 20 years in the hole. Like, my uncle, he's a what, a colonel in the Air Force. He's an O-5. So, and he said he did 23 years. 23 years. Well, he did more than 23 years because he was in the enlisted side. He was a PFC. He used to write me letters back to basic training saying, "What's good, PFC Wilson?" That was good. So, enlisted. What you gotta? What's the main thing with the enlisted? Grunt work. Um, basically doing whatever the sergeants or drill sergeants tell you, but it's not really drill sergeant once you get to your unit, unless you're in a drill sergeant unit because they do have them. Um, basically, you're like in the enlisted side, you're like the workers, and the officers are like the managers. And you know how in every manager they got divisions. So like the divisions of the drill sergeant, that's a division. The division of the recruiter, That's a division right there. You know, that's all what it takes, you know. So I'm waiting for Screen Learning to jump on. You know, he said he was 88 mile. I was a truck driver for almost 4 years, and I should have did 88 mile, but you know, they really didn't pick my MOS for me. I just said, you know what, give me something. Ah man, I didn't want to do this video too long, but I just wanted to end it on that. So how long is it gonna take you to get on Screen Learning? Because I wasn't trying to make a long video. I just want to chop it up with you for a little bit before I get off auto here. So that's my decision. Either enlisted or officer, but you know, officer is going to be where my goal is at. Somebody already told me. It was like, I see you as the leader, Wilson. Shout out to Gomez. So I'm gonna get that going pretty soon. Once that's good going, man, how long do I got in the army? Who knows? I know I got some time. I'm thinking about it. I want to do the next 19 years and probably be a 04 and just retire. Who knows? It just depends on me, you know. I'm the one that making my own decision on jumping ship or not. All right, I'm just waiting for this guy to come on down. If not, I'm gonna hang it up and see y'all again on the next video once. Want to give him about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, just finishing up here. So I hope y'all like my videos and stuff like that. I hope y'all did enjoy it. Hold on one second. Whew, I guess that's gonna be it, man. I don't have the energy for the thing today. So I'm about to hang it up. Let's see. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, y'all. This is Q Wilson. I hope y'all did enjoy this video. And let's get up out of here with some tunes. Oh, he said he's logging on. Oh my bad. Right when I was getting off, he's gonna freaking come on. It's all right. I'll give him a minute or two. Go ahead. Okay, get that going. I'm gonna put this on my Facebook right quick. Oh yeah, I'm sorry guys, but I am making the Discord this weekend. I'm sorry. I've been trying to. I've been busy. The military, the regular life been kicking my butt. But I will be coming on soon. So just bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I'm coming. So once I get my Discord up, man, it's gonna be golden. Hold on, here we go. All right, 1 second, y'all. Trying to see if he's in the back office. Nope, he's not in the back office. Okay. Somebody already liked the video already. Who? See, this is why I do stuff like this to help y'all out. Help y'all out and give you in backstage. Okay, let me check. Okay, I see you. There we go.
Hey, what's going on?
What's good with you?
Yeah, it took me a while. I was using the restroom and wasn't set up to come on, but I'm good now.
Okay. I guess I gotta change this title because now is not a regular video. It's gonna be like a mid-sized interview.
Well, do you want to stop this and start another one, or are you
No,
okay? Just
you
keep it
fine.
going. Okay.
You're fine. You're fine. I'm just gonna add this on because it's gonna take some time. But before we go ahead and introduce yourself. Give a brief introduction and take it from there.
Well, not gonna use my real name because
Yeah.
of privacy, but so basically, you can call me Captain Screen Learning. So
Mm-hmm.
my last rank before I retired was captain,
Oh.
and I I was field artillery. No, I was finance branch detail field artillery,
Mm.
and I commissioned through officer candidate school.
Mm-hmm.
I was regular army,
Mm-hmm.
which is like federal army. I was regular army. Um, I initially went enlisted,
Mm-hmm.
and then commissioned officer candidate school at Fort Benning, and then became an officer. So I want to start off by saying I don't want to. I should have before I started typing everything. I should have said I don't want to influence your decision
Yeah.
because I'm not a recruiter. I've never been a recruiter. I don't want to influence your decision on what you do. I don't want to talk you in or out of anything because it's a big decision when
Yeah.
the first time you walk into a recruiter's office
Yeah.
and you open your mouth, that pretty much determines the rest of your career.
Yeah.
Especially the ASVAB. But see, I went Army, but initially I did check out Coast Guard
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
But the ASVAB, how you do on the ASVAB make a difference because when I don't know if you're fresh out of high school, but when you're fresh out of high school and you have that knowledge in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you study, maybe you don't, but you take the ASVAB,
Mm-hmm.
the highest you like when you first walk into. No, let me back up. So when you first walk, so have you already are you in the military right now?
Oh yeah, I'm in the National Guard right now. I'm like already did my 1 year, signed a 3 year contract, almost beginning my second year. And I'm in the process right now deciding how I'm gonna go about commissioning, either ROTC or green to gold packet. And I'm just on the
What what
fence about that. So, and the crazy thing
what
about it, I gotta go back to school in I'm trying to go back to school in January.
what branch?
I'm in the Army, National Guard,
Okay,
National Guard, yeah.
so so I don't know how National Guard works,
Mhm,
but when I was enlisted, I started the process before my contract
mhm,
was up, and I don't know if it was like a better way or a worse way to do it, but in my opinion, so again, I've never been to I've never been to a National Guard unit.
yeah,
I've only worked with them,
yeah,
but I'm gonna assume that it's just like regular Army since we had the same kind of deal. It was just um, for National Guard, you basically are doing everything in one weekend that we normally
yeah,
do throughout the week.
yeah,
And I was the guys I was working with, they were given like a month's worth of stuff to do in
mhm,
one weekend. So they were working like off the clock, so to speak.
mhm,
So they were working 24/7, even though they had the same amount of work as us. So to me, it's kind of a rip. I said kind of a rip off.
yeah.
So
That's
I got
why when my contract ends in 2 years, I want to go active duty, but I want to have enough credits or graduate so I could transition to the regular army.
sorry. Are you in ROTC classes or something?
No. I just got out of AIT in April.
Oh, okay. So you're waiting to go to your first unit?
Oh, I already in my first unit. Due to COVID, the unit everything was halted, so it took a while for everything to pick up. But I actually got drilled again. What this weekend coming up? Not this weekend, the following weekend.
All right. So I'm assuming you have college credits, but no college degree, right?
Yeah, I got like 44. ECPI said they'll
Okay.
take take all my credits and stuff. They did the assessment and everything. I spoke to my second lieutenant back in basic training. He said, "Man, you only need 16 credits, and you could go to ROTC if you wanted to." And I was like, "Yeah."
So wait, so ECPI is that ROTC?
Well, ECPI is the college. I still have to go to the ROTC hub where I'm at in the state of South Carolina. And they said once I get accepted, I still got to do drills, but with the hub unit and also my National Guard unit. So with that being said, I will become a cadet once I sign the ROTC contract.
So do you want to go to that school?
What's that, ECPI?
That's the name of the college,
Yeah.
ECPI.
I'm open. I'm not for certain yet because I got some time. Due to COVID, I got some time between now and January to pick the school I want to go to.
Okay, because for ROTC, I know the school has to have a ROTC program, and that's kind of the hard. That's the reason why I'm not saying I'm against ROTC or even West Point. It's just that if you want to go, to a school that has ROTC, then that'll work out for you because you want to go to that school and you'll want the degree, hopefully a part of that school. But see, if you just want to be ROTC and you go to whatever school, you don't really care about the school or the degree, that's going to hurt you long term. And I know you, because let's say if you want to be an officer, but you don't want to retire, or you don't, because with ROTC, I'm just going off of what people have told me because I did OCS, but with ROTC, it's based off of, I think it's like as far as your branch.
Yeah.
I think it was about GPA. I'm not really sure.
GPA
as far as,
and the GT score.
Okay.
Like what I was told, but I don't know if this is accurate or not. This is what I was told. Depending on your GT score, also depends on the job you get. Whatever.
See, the job you get determines, I guess, your GPA, your GT score. So it's going to be needs of the Army. So you might end up. So right there, like, you really want to think of like what's your, because see, the thing about ROTC and the West Point is you don't have choice on what your job is. You don't have choice on your degree. It depends on your performance in school. So with that being said, as long as you're picking the school and the degree you really want, and they accept you in the Green to Gold program, which is a scholarship, because the only way you can pay for ROTC is the Green to Gold scholarship or out of pocket. They don't take money any other way. So if you get the Green to Gold scholarship at the school you want to go to and the degree you want, then I mean, you might as well just, however you get in is how you get in. You can change your branch, but you can't change when you go officer, you can't change your branch until, I believe, it's when you're first lieutenant promotable.
First lieutenant promotable. Okay.
Yeah, at that point you can go to a different captain's career course. And if you're accepted to a different captain's career course than what your branch is, then you become that branch, and you're kind of in that branch until it's time for wherever the majors go to. I forgot. I don't know what the majors go to. I didn't make major, but
I think they go to like a war college, right?
Yeah, it's something about war college for the majors. But I mean,
you say you was at 04, right?
No, O-3. Captain's O-3.
O-3. Okay, you was a captain. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many years did you do?
As a captain or total? Total was 20.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as a captain, that was like.
So let me backtrack for a second. How many years of military service do you have altogether?
So it's 20.
Okay, you did your 20 years. So you was enlisted first, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, from enlisted to what rank was you before you became a second lieutenant?
E5, a sergeant.
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. That's exactly what I was talking. Okay, so you was an E5, and then you went to officer candidate school, correct? So, explain to me how does officer candidate school works?
So far as so the people who were there were of course it was prior service, and I think it was reserve and National Guard there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was reserve and National Guard there. So basically it's kind of like basic training, except I got to be careful because we're online. So
Yeah. I understand.
I'm gonna say this much.
Okay.
I'll just tell you straight up. So with basic training, let's say you get hurt,
Mm-hmm.
you go to like an alternate. You may go. Let's say you could put on quarters for basic training.
Yeah.
You can get off quarters and then still be with your class and graduate.
Mm-hmm.
With me so far, and then like so. In other words, you might make up
Later.
graduation like requirements,
Mm-hmm.
like the ruck marches, the obstacle courses.
Yeah.
When you come off quarters, you can do that stuff with another unit and still graduate with your class.
Yeah.
With officer candidate school, it's more like an elimination course as opposed to training you to
For
be an
real?
officer. Yeah, see, basic training is like training you to become a soldier. Officer
Yeah.
candidate school is more like an elimination course. And that, let's say if you get hurt,
Yeah.
it's possible they might recycle you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you recycle, or in basic training, do you remember reception? You probably don't remember it.
Yeah. I remember reception. Yeah.
Okay, so officer candidate school is the same way, but it's complete. It's the difference between officer candidate school and basic training is you have to find your own way to the school. You can drive, you can rent a vehicle, which I don't recommend. You can drive, get an Uber, ride with people. I ended up riding with a stranger who was going to aerosol school,
Mm-hmm.
and no, I think it was airborne school. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they go in airborne school, and ended up getting there that way. And then as far as getting back to the airport to go to my BOLIC,
Mm-hmm.
which is the follow-on school, kind of like AIT.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a ride with one of the students who had drove. So with basic training, you basically get on the bus or you fly to an airport. They put everybody together. They put you on a bus. You go to basic training. With officer candidate school, there is no you all come together and then you go as a group. You have to figure it out.
Mm.
So that's the first thing that's different. Second thing is there's a packing list. So for basic training, you kind of have a packing list,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have time to buy stuff in reception or like during the weeks, like red phase, white phase, blue phase. They give you times to go buy stuff. The drill sergeants. But with officer candidate school, you're on lockdown. So you have to, when you get there, they give you. Sometimes I had a packing list before I shipped.
Mm-hmm.
That I got through a military personnel MilPer message, and when I got there, it was an updated packing list. So you have to come out of pocket for your packing list, and then when you show up, you have to show up with enlisted uniforms. As far as the ASU, when you get there, there's a period of time where everyone turns in their ASU to have it transition to an officer ASU.
What's the difference between the two?
So enlisted ASU, the rank is on the sleeve. So if you're an E1, it's blank. If you're E2, it has the chevron. E2, E3 has.
Oh, okay. My bad. My memory is coming back to me because they don't have those no more. That's why. Now it's all in the center now.
No, the Army service uniform.
Yeah. They got the OCPs, like all the ranks is in the center.
No. So the OCP is your duty uniform.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the service uniform.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Dress,
My bad. Yeah, I understand
no,
now.
Yeah, you're good. I'm not yelling. I'm not yelling at you. You say you're fresh out of AIT, so I'm not yelling at you because
Yeah. I'm,
But
I'm like, what you talking? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because it's on
yeah,
the
yeah.
sleeves and like, and now they got it on the shoulders. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
So yeah, so it's the dress uniform.
yeah.
Um, so that's the one difference. Second thing is your rank is on the white collar,
Mm-hmm.
whereas officer, no, your yeah, with officer your branch is on your collar.
Mm-hmm.
What else? That's the main difference. It's just with enlisted, it's your rank. With officer, it's your branch insignia.
Yeah.
And so when you turn your uniform in, they put the shoulder boards on, and they take the rank off the sleeve, and and they also give you the it's like some things that go on your jacket.
Mm-hmm.
So, so when you show up, you do a layout,
Yeah.
and when you lay out your stuff, everything needs to be enlisted. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are going to show up with officer stuff, they're going to get kicked out. And see,
Wow.
yeah, because you're not an officer, so
You're
you can't
not.
have an
Yeah.
officer uniform. So you have to show up with a enlisted uniform, and then you in process through um, uh, I forgot the name. I forgot the name of that quick shit. Reception. So you in process through reception,
Mm-hmm.
and then they tell you when you're going to class up. You'll take a PT test before then.
Mm-hmm.
See with so if you see ROTC wasn't there, so take a PT test, you class up, and then it's like basic training all over again, where they make you carry your stuff to the actual school, and you gotta.
Was there
Um,
drill sergeants there, or they? What? How was the instructors? Were they chill, or like was it intense again?
so that's the thing. So I should let you be surprised, but now I'm gonna tell you. Now you never you're at ROTC anyway, so you won't really experience it.
Yeah.
I think ROTC is a little bit more
Yeah.
intense because you're going a whole bunch of summers doing the crap. But so it's NCOs who are doing all the yelling and stuff at first.
Mm-hmm.
So first it's NCOs, and then when you class up and you're on week one, it's students who are running the show. So
Mm.
you'll have NCOs and officers who will work with the student CO, the student first sergeant, and the student XO.
Mm.
And then the student CO, the student XO, and the student first sergeant have to like yell at everybody else to get everybody else to do what they want to do.
Mm.
So it's like an actual army unit, and so everybody is evaluated on their position. So I was kind of like how you were talking about a platoon guide. I think it's PG.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the PG is basically like a platoon sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
So platoon sergeant is a position for like a student, and you rotate each week.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, so basically, it's students. We're yelling at students, and you switch positions. So you might be you might be company commander week one, and then week two you're like platoon sergeant, and then week three you might be platoon leader, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has like their role. And the hardest position is executive officer because it really is. And um, the students evaluate the students. So each week, it's like the people who are in your chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
They vote everybody from like 1 to like 8,
Mm.
with 1 being the best and 8 being the worst. Whoever gets the most 8s more than likely will be recycled back to
What?
reception.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So like
Wow.
let's say if you have so like let's say if you don't have a leadership role
Mm-hmm.
and you're like a regular Joe.
And you just going through the motions.
right. You basically just getting bossed around. So the higher ranking students for that week have to make sure you do layout. And let's say if you show up, if you're like a regular Joe and you show up without, let's say, full winter PTs,
Mm-hmm.
and you're missing like a cap or something,
Mm-hmm.
then the cadre will yell at whoever your student leader is.
Wow.
They'll yell at your whole chain of command. Yeah, and so your whole chain of command will get yelled at, and then when it comes time to vote,
Mm-hmm.
they more than likely are going to vote. They're going to vote on that Joe that was messing up.
Yeah.
But it's not guaranteed that, because like when it comes time to vote, even though everybody can get together and try to play like reality show and say, okay, let's vote this person out, vote that person out.
Yeah.
Some people might form cliques and stuff. It's a lot of politics involved, and
yeah, I understand. I understand. Just like basic training, like it wasn't hell, but there was people that was clicked up, and I noticed they voted a couple of people out of my platoon, and they had the highest PT scores. And once their highest PT score left, they went to the other platoon. I'm like, wow, y'all was really. I mean, I understand they probably had problems, but come on, they had the PT score. We could have got the banner for that, But yeah, I'm sorry. You can continue.
No, I mean, and that's it. Like, it's definitely challenging, and it just, if just looking back, I wouldn't want to do it again.
I would do OTS.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do it. Nah.
See, that's the thing that I was skeptical about, because I said to myself when I went to basic, I said I want to go the officer route. I did not know, I didn't understand how to go the officer route, and I was like, okay, now that I know which 3 routes to go, what would be the best route for me? And I was like, I don't want to go the OCS route because it's just rarely a continuation of basic training. And what you are saying is true. That's definitely ruling OCS out for me.
Nah, I think basic training is a little bit harder because you're isolated.
Yeah.
With OCS, you get a little bit more liberties. But I mean, it just depends on like what you want your final destination to be. If you want to, retire from military service, then you're gonna, because you want to do the ROTC route, you're going to have to basically work your ass off and score as high as possible, so you're in the top tier. I think you get a choice. You get like 1 through 20. I'm not really sure about ROTC, but I think like some people, they get a chance to choose what they want, and then the higher you are on the pecking order, when you finish, you can possibly get what you want.
Yeah.
The lower you are,
they're going to give you what you got.
Yeah, it's needs of the Army. So
let me ask you this: can you explain in depth about the green to gold package, if you know anything insight on that?
It's a scholarship.
Okay.
That's all it is, a scholarship. I mean, it's green is supposed to be enlisted, and gold is Butterbar, second lieutenant.
Yeah.
So it's the name of a scholarship. So if you don't get that scholarship, unless you're going to pay out of pocket, you can't go ROTC.
Mm-hmm. So I thought they told me, from what I was told, the green to gold package.
Hold on, let me stop you there.
Okay.
The best thing you could do is don't go off what people tell you, not even myself. Mm-hmm. Look everything up, because the person you're talking to might be telling you the wrong information because they don't want you to do it, or they don't want you to make it. Yeah, so that's another aspect. See, that the thing about it is, because you're already enlisted, it's like ROTC might be, because you might be talking to, let's say, someone who's a staff sergeant. Now, no disrespect to anybody in NCO Corps, but you might be talking to a staff sergeant that.
Wait, say that again. You cut out a little bit.
Well, I was saying no disrespect to NCO Corps, but you might be talking to a staff sergeant who he or she wanted to be an officer, but they couldn't do it for whatever reason, or didn't even try. So they may end up telling you the wrong information on purpose to throw you off. That does happen.
Yeah.
So you want to look up everything. You want to look up how the criteria for everything on paper, so that way,
what people say.
Right, that way you have proof of the process. Now, it's possible that you might pull up something like a military personnel message or a MilPer message, and it's outdated. That does happen.
Mm-hmm.
But usually the MilPer messages, like if you use Google and you go on Army Commands resource, HRC,
Mm-hmm.
they usually, if you pull up something old, it'll usually be in some type of, it'll be like a link right below it that'll say the updated thing. Because the MilPer message will have like the year and the sequence number of the message. So
let me
when you look
ask you
up,
this question. Let me pause you right quick for that. I gotta ask this question now that you're giving me some information. So, say I go back to college in January. Say I don't say I get my 4-year degree, but I didn't do the ROTC and the green to gold package. What then should I do if I just got my degree?
so if you have your degree and your enlistment contract's up, and you don't want to enlist, that's what I'm taking it. You don't want to re-enlist or re-up or whatever.
No,
Then
I want to re-up, but I don't want to be enlisted. I want to be an officer. Say I didn't do no ROTC. I just grinded out, did my time in school, got my degree. I got it. Here it is. Now, what should I do from there if I want to be an officer? If I didn't do none of the 3 things.
so if your contract is not up, then you'll go through your S1 and go through the OCS route. If your contract is up and you're like out or in limbo, like you haven't re-enlisted and you're, because once your contract expires, you're out of the Army.
Yeah.
So if you don't re-up, you're out. So if you wait till you're out and you're a civilian, then you have to go through a recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, if you're going to go the OCS route, it's better for you to go through your unit before your contract's up than to wait on a recruiter. But see, here's the thing about it, though. Here's the tricky part.
Yeah.
See,
mm-hmm.
if let's say you start the process and the first officer board is, let's say, May,
Mm-hmm.
but your contract is up in, let's say, February,
Mm-hmm.
then you won't really be able to be in the face of the S1 that's in charge of like turning your stuff in.
Mm.
You'll be waiting for like an email if it comes. You see what I'm saying? And then see if you do it while you still have your contract before your contract's up.
Yeah.
And the first board is before you get out, then you'll be able to go to the S1's office, talk to the S1, talk to your chain of command for updates, and they can, because when it comes to communication, HRC is going to communicate with whatever command you fall under. So if you're a civilian, it's going to be the recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in, like your contract's not up, it's going to be your National Guard command, that S1.
Now,
so
go finish. Yeah, finish your sentence.
So it's better for you to start the process like ASAP. After you graduate, no, actually before you graduate,
college.
Really and truly. Let me step back for you. Ask a question or whatever.
Okay.
You want to look at the total timeline. So let's say you graduate college. Let's see, this is 2020. Let's say you graduate 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to start looking at, because you won't really know until like 2023. Mm-hmm. Anything about 2024 as far as MilPer message. So 2022, 2023, you want to start checking Google, checking the Army Human Resources Command.
Yeah.
You want to start checking for a MilPer message that pertains to Officer Candidate School. And then once the MilPer message comes out and they say, okay, the OCS board is 2024 in January, and then the results are in November 2024, then you can start to like take out a calendar, mark down dates, so that way you know, okay, I'm not going to know anything before I re-up. Mm-hmm. So let me go ahead and re-up, mm-hmm. so I can stay in the Army. That way, if I don't get picked for officer school, I'll still have a job.
True.
Because once you're out and you're a civilian and you got to go through recruiter. I mean, once you go through the recruiters, they get credit for enlisting people, not for having people go warrant officer or commissioned officer. So they're gonna talk you out of it. They're gonna tell you got to have a 300 PT score. They may dick around with your application. They may not turn your application in. And see, the thing is, there's no repercussions for them because they're dealing with a civilian.
Yeah.
See, once you're out, you can't. Like you can be like, let me talk to your first sergeant. Let me talk to your command and everything. But the command is like right there in the recruiter station.
Yeah.
And I mean, with them, they're going to be dealing with a civilian. They can tell you all types of stuff. They can jack you up and jack you around. But if you're in the Army and one of reserve, National Guard, active duty, if you're in the Army, then you can kind of get your first line, get people on your side to kind of protect you. You have protection of the chain of command. But if you're not in the chain of command, then you don't have protection, because if you're a civilian, your chain of command is the recruiters.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're dishonest, because I mean, it is what it is with them. But
yeah, I already know.
It's just that with them, it's just some people have luck with them, but you gotta factor in a lot of stuff that we don't want to be comfortable with. Like, for example, you might go to a recruiter's office. If none of them look like you, so you got to deal with that. And then let's say you walk to a recruiter's office and there's nothing but women in there.
Yeah.
You got to deal with that. Well, let's say you walk into a recruiter's office and, you walk in and they got a 5 o'clock shadow. They're not like shaved. They don't have discipline. They're undisciplined. They don't really take their job seriously. They're about to get out the military. They're not trying to do their job. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And you gotta consider that most people are going to tell you don't worry about, but you got to worry about it.
Yeah, because your neck is on the line. Your contract's about to end. Yeah.
Right. Because so that's the thing, is it's just a timeline. I would get a calendar if you don't have one. And once the MilPer message comes out, then get a calendar, start writing down dates and keeping track of stuff. And then because you're going to turn in an OCS packet. Mm-hmm. And in the packet is going to have you need a letter from your commander. You need a letter from, so you need the company commander. Do you have a company, a troop, or
we got a company?
You have a battery. Yeah. Okay, you got a company. You're in a company.
Yeah.
So you need the company commander, battalion commander. You need those 2 letters. You might have to type it up. Mm-hmm. So you got to learn AR 25-50, mm-hmm. And then see what else. Then you have to get like a physical done. Not really height and weight. I mean, it depends. If you fail tape, I mean, if you fail your weight, then yeah, you got to get the tape or whatever. So you got to get that. PT score, of course. The physical, it's the same physical you had when you enlisted. So as I say, I think it's don't quote me on what the DD form is.
Yeah.
And then, but the MilPer message will have like the whole list of everything that's required for the packet. And it's the S1's job to get it together for you, mm-hmm. because that's the secretary. But you want to be on top of what goes in the packet too. Mm-hmm. That way y'all can put your heads together, because once word goes out that you want to be an officer, it's kind of like now you're like racing against the clock. You're having to hustle, and you're going to be expected to do stuff and know stuff that you haven't really been exposed to, mm-hmm. like Army regulation, how to type a memo. You'll have to do stuff like you might end up having to go into offices and talk to the company commander and tell him why you want to do it. Talk to the battalion commander. Why do you want to do it? Got to go through the first sergeant. You got to go through the sergeant major. I mean, you got to talk to everybody.
Mhm.
And
So let me pause right quick. Let me ask you this for the viewers, that's going to watch this on the playback. So if you say you don't know much about the National Guard, but let me ask you this: from a National Guard standpoint, is it easier to transition to active duty?
see, I don't know. I've never been National Guard,
Hmm.
so I'll say I've never gone through that process. I've never. Let's see. Have I met anybody?
Yeah, because I want to know how did that process, transition. Say, hey, from what I was told, and like you said, you don't go for what people tell you. But what I told is, once your contract is near up and completed, you just go and say, put in like something, say you want to go active duty.
Yeah, it's basically it. It's a retention NCO
Hmm.
that'll be in charge of like retention. It's at the brigade level. So the
Hmm.
retention. So like when you go to retention, you walk in there. I think you might have to take the retention NCO some stuff. I don't know, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's just like going to the recruiter for the first time, and you say you want to go active duty. So it's based off of slots.
Hmm.
So like right now, you're in a National Guard, whatever your MOS is slot, and to go regular Army, there has to be a slot available for you where your GT score and ASVAB score and everything is applicable to that job,
Yeah.
and then you'll be MOST for transfer. You'll go to the AIT and you'll train, but it'll be a different AIT experience because you won't be like a regular AIT student. You'll be MOST, so you'll have like your own like living quarters with everybody else who's MOST.
Hmm.
And you'll be responsible for cleaning on your own and all that. But
Okay.
um, so I know that part. I know
Okay.
that. Yeah. So yeah, that pretty much answers the question. It's just been so long since
Yeah.
I've had
Because
to deal with.
since this is like an impromptu interview, I was trying to get somebody that was on the officer side to answer these officer questions because I don't know much about it. Um, so you said you was an O-3 captain. So let me ask you, what did you have to deal with as a captain, company commander, basically? What was your day to day, basically?
So I was Field Artillery. So basically, when you first take over command, um, it's whatever's on the training calendar from the previous commander. You're basically taking that over to a certain point to where now you can take over and plan. Um, it's you're basically responsible for like all your taskings come from higher, which is brigade and battalion. So there would be like a operations order that would come down. No, you said day to day. So okay, day to day operations. It's most of the time, in the morning you do PT with your unit.
Mhm.
First sergeant, the NCOs are really over PT, and then you may go on an officer run, or you may go on a run with your XO and other officers. Just depends. But so outside of PT, whatever the unit guys going on for PT, your day to day is creating a lot of reports, doing a lot of planning, um, looking to see what battalion is tracking for your unit, because
Mhm.
battalion and brigade gives you your taskings.
Mhm.
You do get left and right limits as far as like planning stuff out for your battery, well, in your case, a company.
Mhm.
You're able to have like training days where you can plan training, where you may go to a range and shoot, or it may be where you're doing um, like 350-1 training, where it's like sharp, EO. Um, do you know what sharp is?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We have plenty of sharp
Okay.
and EO classes. Yeah,
Okay. So
especially
basically,
the.
Yeah, so so basically just getting with the first sergeant and seeing, well, not first sergeant, but just talking to whoever owns those programs, whoever's the program owner, schedule, telling them, hey, we got to get some training done, letting them pick the time, managing property. But it's when you first take over, it's just the training. The training calendar is already filled. You're just basically taking over to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start planning the training, and most of it is like rinse and repeat from like the previous quarter or previous year.
Okay.
The tough parts is just having to like discipline people, having to make sure that your battery is in the green and squared away, like med pros. That was the main thing, was just like training, preparing for like I think it was JR. I forgot the name of a lot of this shit. It's where you have to qualify to deploy. That's like the main thing, is you're responsible for everything, and you just kind of just making sure that everybody's on top of being prepared for an operation.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's as far as like day to day.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: was there any difficulties doing your job?
Yeah, every day was difficult.
How so?
I mean, it's just it's because you're, as an officer, you're looking upward, and you're ultimately responsible for like the unit taskings that comes from brigade and battalion. That's like the main, and even post. That's like the main thing, is you go to a battalion meeting, and then the battalion commander, battalion XO, they're like, hey, your unit, Fox Battery, is, you guys are going to support shooting at this objective, at this OP. And you're like, okay, shit. So now you got to, make sure your XO orders the munitions, make sure the XO and first sergeant are tracking, what weapon systems to clean and have them prepared. Make sure everything is serviceable. If it's not serviceable, what can you just sign off on to use as a one-time use?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure, vehicles that are not serviceable, signing off on that stuff.
Yeah.
Getting status on, what and who will be available, because the first sergeant and the NCOs will pick who does what.
Yeah.
And then your XO picks, will let you know the status of equipment and schedule stuff to get fixed. You're just responsible to your job is to make sure that everybody has their taskings and what they're supposed to do, and you're going to brief everybody what the overall mission. You're going to brief two levels up. So you'll brief your people on what battalion's doing. No, I'm sorry, what brigade's doing. Then brief what battalion's doing, and you'll brief what your part is in the whole operation. And and it's just just knowing, just kind of figuring out what happens when, as far as an operation, making sure your people are on top of it. Really, it's just being on top, just knowing what your battery is responsible for, and making sure that people are doing what they're supposed to do. But you're only responsible for really two people, which is XO and First Sergeant.
Okay.
However, sometimes you might walk up to somebody directly and just talk to them, especially if it's like a PL, a platoon leader, or talking to the FDO or FDC, which is the FDOs in the FDC, or talking to people on the gun line. You're basically just walking around, making sure, just seeing what everybody's doing. But all in all, as a commander, you're really just processing paperwork and doing a lot of planning and just tasking stuff out. So the real headache comes when someone goes on leave.
Yeah.
and or they're on leave and they were tasked to do something and now you got to scramble, or someone gets in trouble over the weekend and you got to deal with that headache because if people get into a problem, it reflects on you.
Yeah.
So and then also property. Property was just working with a supply sergeant, making sure that, and you have to work directly. I mean, even though the XO rates the supply sergeant, you kind of work with the supply sergeant yourself because they manage your property, and you just making sure that people have signed their hand receipts. Even though it's a platoon sergeant's job, you're ultimately responsible for all the processes in the battery.
Yeah.
So the battalion. What have to go to? You're responsible. So the go-to person is the first sergeant in XO. But if the battalion commander comes down and is like, "Hey, you're red on this. What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah.
The battalion commander is not going to cuss out, your junior NCO or your XO or your first sergeant. He's gonna cuss you out.
Yeah.
And now you're a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just basically just dealing with the headaches of people popping hot as far as doing drug tests, make sure that stuff is scheduled, making sure people who didn't show up to PT, what's going on with them, making sure people are in the right place at the right time in the right uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though it's the first sergeant's job, you still are kind of like looking over your shoulder, like, okay, what the fuck's going on?
Okay. Now let me ask you this: as the company commander, right? Did you see or feel from your enlisted guys that they were scared to talk to you or anything like that because you was a higher up?
Well, it's an open door policy, but you wanna. I mean, you verbally say it's open door policy. Come talk to me anytime. Mm-hmm. However, you really want them to handle stuff at the lowest level. Mm-hmm. You want that, like you want like for example, you want your Joes to go to their first line before going to their squad leader. Like you don't want, like if it gets all the way up to me, then it's got to be very, very bad. But if it gets if somebody just walks up to me with a problem, now it's just like, now it becomes my business. All right. And now I'm upset with everybody who's below me who didn't deal with this guy or gal, and why I got to deal with it.
So let me ask you this. Say you're in your office right now and you're just doing, regular stuff you're supposed to do in your day-to-day. And say like an E2 or E3 come to you and say, "Hey Cap, can I speak to you?" And it's a problem, like you said, one of your lower downs is supposed to handle. And you said the open door policy. How would you handle that if they just come into your office and just wanted to handle a situation or talk to you or something like that?
So first of all, I'm gonna cuss them out because I'm not Cap. Yeah, it's sir.
Yeah. I know. I'm just being. You know how privates are. I'm just wanted to see how would you.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I will cuss them out and then tell them go the fuck away. Come back with if you said E2, so come back with your first line. Come back with your squad leader. Come back with your platoon sergeant, and let's just whatever you got going on, we'll get you corrected. We'll get you fixed. So then they come back with all their people. I'm letting them know, like, this dude came to me calling me Cap.
Uh-oh.
And
that's probably right there.
They can deal with it later. But then I'm asking them, the first thing I would always ask is whatever problem you have, is it dealing with you being arrested? Is it dealing with EO or sharp? If they say it's sharp, then I tell them to stop talking and to have him or her go talk to the sharp rep one-on-one and let the sharp rep come brief me later on. Okay. Same thing with the EO rep. Like I let the EO or the alternative come brief me later on.
Yeah.
If they're like, well, it's dealing with like my wife, we're having problems. That's not something that you go directly to the company commander with. You go to your first line with that.
Yeah.
Because the training NCO or whoever can schedule time for that soldier and the wife to go to like the chaplain or go to a marriage retreat or something like that to deal with their problems. So there's a program for everything. The Army's thought of everything as a program for everything. So if they got a problem, they need to go to their first line, schedule some training, schedule some classes, a marital retreat, you know, something, because everybody who's married goes through problems. It's just they have to learn how to be married the Army way.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Army wanted you to have a spouse, they'd issue you one, but you got one. So there's a program for you, and that whatever the it's always, and you can always talk to the chaplain. The chaplain has an open door policy. Depending on the severity of it, you can just walk into the chaplain's office sometime and talk to the chaplain's assistant, or sometimes you have to schedule stuff. It just depends on the severity of it.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Now that, say that you in your unit, right? And you're just walking around, just chilling, and you see privates, or they just around, not doing much, but not much like as in they need somebody to talk to. How would you go about talking to them?
As far as me walking up to them, I'm gonna be like, hey, good morning, how you doing? Kind of joke around with them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if they reveal something in that conversation, I'm gonna ask them who they talk to, who have they talked to about it. Because if this is like a brand new thing, I might just give them not give them a hard time and tell them, hey, when you're dealing with this stuff, you got to text your first line, you got to talk to your first line, you got to let them know so they can help you, because it's his or her job to square you away.
Mm-hmm.
And have you good to go. It shouldn't get to a point where you're like holding something inside. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you're really upset about something, and I'm around, you still want to look for your first line or look for your squad leader, which is normally E6 or E5 promotable. It just depends. You want to tag those two people to make sure you're straight.
Okay.
Right.
The reason why I asked you, because one day I might be in your position, and I just need, get your insight on what I would do if I was in your position. That's why I asked you.
Every unit's different. Yeah. Because when I was enlisted, I would always say, man, when I become an officer, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then the unit you go to is going to be completely different than the unit that you're in. And it's going to have completely different personalities, completely different problems, completely different, as a whole. It's going to be completely different. I mean, it is, best thing you could do, because you're enlisted, you can kind of see what higher ranks do, and you can kind of, pick and choose what you want to include and what you got going on. If you're, hopefully you're in like a positive unit where you can see what right looks like. But when it comes to ROTC, and really all of the commissioning sources, because there's like 4 of them out of, no, actually it's 3. So there's OCS and there's like direct commission OCS, which is like 2 different OCSs.
Speak on that.
So really it's like 4. But so if someone is, let's say, a chaplain, a doctor, a nurse, dentist, psychologist. Yeah, I think I named lawyer, but yeah, lawyer is one.
Okay.
So those are like, for them to be an officer, they go to officer candidate school, but all they do is really like a ruck march, and they go over like how to wear the uniform.
Wow, for real?
Yeah, they, like they're in the Army, they're service members, but they're not like considered combatants. So they are combatants, but they're not like soldiers first. So like a lawyer, an Army lawyer is an Army lawyer first.
Yeah.
A medical doctor is a medical doctor first.
Yeah.
So as far as a combat person who's medical would be like a combat medic. Yeah. So a combat medic is a soldier first, but an actual military doctor is a doctor first. Same thing with a dentist. When they deploy, they do the same thing they do in garrison. They just do it in theater or downrange. Yeah. So, but see, for them to commission, it's like they don't really do much of anything. So when you talk to them, their perspective of the military is different than yours, because to them it's like a normal job, but they're just in a uniform.
Wow.
But So like, let's say if you go to the chaplain and you want to talk to him about soldier problems,
Mm-hmm.
the chaplain can kind of pray with you and, you know, tell you about some training they have going on and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
the chaplain's never gonna, unless the chaplain was prior service.
Yeah.
The chaplain's never gonna understand the life of a soldier. The only
Wow.
person who will understand the life of a soldier is a former soldier.
Mm.
That's the reason why a lot of people don't like the Navy and the Air Force, because when they commit, they don't have to go through basic training to commission. They just go straight to being an officer, and they have a separate test and everything.
Mm. Yeah, because that's what I was initially talking about earlier before this interview about direct commissions. But you gave me more insight on the other side of direct commissions now. Like I didn't know that. So that appreciate you for telling me about that part.
Yeah,
And
nobody's gonna tell you this stuff. Like this probably be, you know, if you see me around these YouTube streets, I probably won't even mention all the stuff anymore, just because after this conversation, you should be good to go
mm-hmm.
and you should be squared away. But most people won't really just like, they won't really tell you everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because like when I was coming through, it was hell.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And I
was like
just
it was no
recently.
one questions. It's like yeah, like for some reason, a lot of people don't just like give us information for free. I don't know why. I mean, it should be more people. No, I take that back. When I said that if I see you around, I won't say anything else about it. I mean, I would. But like, honestly, I don't know why, but it's not a lot of people really just, you know, kind of like giving back as far as information. You know, we give back money to like the officer, candidate school, you know, that the stuff they got going on with that, and, you know, volunteer and everything. But not many people really just will talk to somebody who's like enlisted. I don't know, because I don't know why. It's just, I can't explain it.
Yeah, see, that's the reason why I started this channel, because I want my channel to be about giving back also, because the things I'm going through and the day to day I'm going through, I want people to understand where I'm coming from. You know, that's why I started this channel, because if it wasn't for this channel, like some people wouldn't really know about what they see on the other YouTube. But my channel is for like day to day. Here it is. I'll talk to you. Other people's channels is like they have videos. Here's a topic, and that's it. I would rather talk to you direct. And I'm happy that you did come on, because the stuff you are talking about, I don't know nothing about until you told me about today. And I really do appreciate for that.
I made one video about the military, and it's titled "The Reasons Not to Be an Army Officer or a Military Officer." Yeah, it's reasons not to do it. I'm not gonna say that, you know, I'm talking anybody out of it.
Yeah.
I would say that. Let me see how to explain it.
Okay.
If I'm not talking you out of it, but if you can do your whole military time without a family, do it.
Yeah. That's why I tell people, do it without no strings attached.
Yeah, because once you get a family involved, now it's it's different, because you can't really, because as an officer, I would say when I was a butter bar, I got addicted to the work, and it was very difficult to have like a life, because I would come in and I was like, I say I was number one in my brigade because I love the hustle, but it's also because I didn't come from privilege, so I've had to work hard my whole life. You're going to get that when you deal with officers, especially like West Pointers. A lot of them have privilege, and their perspective on life and their situation is much different than what yours will be. So, you know, if you come from the streets, or
I did.
you're having a hard life, so you're going to be, you know, with you're going to be more about like working hard, improving yourself. Whereas with other people who may have had privileges in life, they're going to be more about hanging out, going to movies and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it's going to give you an edge. People might not like you because you're not going to be a social, but if I had to make a choice between being social and being a hard worker, I'd probably pick a hard worker any day.
Yeah. All right. So now that we're winding down, I really do appreciate you for jumping on in this impromptu interview. And I want to, if you got time, sometime this week or next week, do a part two, and things like
I
that.
don't know about a part two. This was pretty lengthy. I tell you what I'll do is I'll drop the video in my chat. The only reason why I'm kind of like hesitant about it is because I could talk about the Army all day, every day, but I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I feel
And,
you. You want it behind you now. You want to live your life.
well, I am living my life, and I just, I think, just what was given here was really good. As a good like starting point, and I'm gonna look for this video.
Yeah, I'll put the you could get the video. I'll share it later and listen to it on the playback because I'm gonna premiere this tomorrow again for people that didn't see it earlier tonight, and things. And let me ask you this: if it's not too personal, do you want to leave any information so if anybody else want contact with you to give more information about stuff, would that be okay?
No, they need to contact MilPer messages. They need to look at the Army MilPer messages from the Army Human Resource Command. Also, they need to. If they're not in the military, it's better for them to. That's a link to the video that I made. It's called "Military Officer Don't Become a Military Officer: Negative Effects of Military Service." And it's not to talk anybody out of doing it.
Yeah.
It's just to just to kind of give realities of just the politics of it. Because
hold on, I'm gonna make you a moderator. If you got the video, you could put it in the chat now.
Yeah, I just did.
So it will be okay. Hold on.
Oh, okay, yeah, it did. It didn't show up. Okay.
Yeah, now you can do it because you're a moderator now.
Okay, I'll just copy and paste it. All right.
Yeah. So if anybody want to look at this on the playback, they can go to your link and it's good to go.
Yeah, as far as that video, but I don't mind talking about it, but it's just a lot of times, like what you and I covered was like more than enough. And
yeah.
On my channel, it's just
The only reason
the content that I do is different than the military. And if I tell you what, if somebody asks you a question, you can ask me, but I'm not trying to deal with a bunch of like new recruits.
Yeah.
Trying to, trying to be straight, and it's just, I ain't trying to.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to do that.
I get that a lot when people do comment and try to hit me. I'll be like, did my video explain it? But I understand because I was in that predicament of asking questions too. So I was like, okay, I'll answer your questions and stuff like that. But I know the frustration of answering the questions.
Yeah, because you got recruiters out there that be more than happy to help people, and those recruiters got to make their paycheck.
Yeah.
So but if it's like maybe a question for like more clarity over what you and I talked about, you could ask. I'll talk to you. But as far as like trying to get hit up by the whole world, nah, I'm good because recruiters got to make their bread. Yeah. I'm not doing their job for them, even if some of them are kind of and then there's also some people on Facebook I know who are still who are recruiters. They're pretty decent people. They can give you general answers, but all in all, I'll leave you with this. And if you have any more questions before we close this out, I'd be more happy to answer. But when people ask you, well, let me ask you this first, and then we'll go after that. So why do you want to be an Army officer?
Okay. All right. So the reason why I wanted to be an Army officer was I seen the leadership structure throughout basic training. And I was like, I had the leadership roles back in high school, middle school, being in charge of people. And I was like, okay, I could actually see myself doing that. And I was like I looked at, people face to face. I talked to them, and also my grand uncle. He's a army officer in the Air Force. He's a full board colonel. So I was like, maybe this might be it. The lifestyle is a little bit better. Be able to
I'm gonna
answer
save you
people's
some drama. I gotta cut
questions.
you off. I'm gonna save you some drama. No, like military is all about brevity.
Mhm.
So it should be maybe like one sentence, maybe even two, but no story. So I'll give you a free nugget. When someone asks you, why do you want to be an army officer? It
That.
needs to be it needs to be something to the effect of that you want to be responsible for policy and governance when it comes to a unit. Because that's all an officer does is responsible for policy and governance and being overall responsible for what a unit does and fails to do. That's
Word.
it.
That
That's
that's
yeah.
that's that's the answer I would look. I wanted. You
Yeah,
gave me the answer.
keep
I
it
appreciate
short,
that.
keep it simple, straight to the point, because you got to have that brevity. Because when you give people a story, they'll tear their story apart.
Hmm.
And they'll be like, well, you could do the same thing in the NCO Corps. You could do the same thing as a warrant officer. You could do the same thing in a different branch, as a sailor and this and that. No, no, no. You want to be responsible for what a unit does and fails to do. You want to be responsible for policy, for governance. And then when they're like, well, what kind of experience do you have? Somebody going to ask that. You
Yeah.
could mention, being in, any clubs that you were in high school or a church or something. Whatever you were involved with, where you were like involved with making the rules
Mm.
and enforcing the rules. That's what you would go to as far as like your experience, because like none of us have experience before we get it. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah. Yeah.
you can
Learning. Yeah.
kind of you can tap into like those clubs. You can tap into, I don't know if you're in the church. You ain't gotta say if you're in the church or not, but if you were involved with some type of like Boys and Girls Club or volunteer opportunities, you were involved, responsible for policy, governance, in charge of, just overall what the organization was, did and and what they failed to do. That's what you were involved with, and that's be the answer. It's gonna be a whole bunch of questions like that.
Wow. I
Just
can
remember,
imagine because you said this is going to be a lengthy process trying to do.
it's just
I got to
because
get all my P's and Q's.
yeah, because basically, when you talk to people, you want to have like short answers. It's called brevity. You already said that, but you want to be straight to the point. Because the more you talk, the more they have ammunition used against you, and you have to basically talk to everybody like they're the enemy. I hate to
Mm.
be the one to say it like that, but you want to talk to everybody like this person is gathering information to keep me from progressing forward.
Mm.
Trust me, and don't go off of gender or race or treat everybody like they're the same when they talk to you about like why you want to do it and giving you information. If somebody gives you information, even stuff on this stream, another reason why I don't really want to like have a part two is because you got to get in the habit, you and whoever else, even if they're going enlisted, you got to get in the habit of looking stuff up yourself,
Mm.
because when you become an officer, you have to look up the regulations for everything. Like, let's say if somebody asks you a question, you
You got to
unless
know.
unless you know the answer and you can quote the regulation, like 350-1, 350-6, which is basic training, or 25-50, which is the Army memo, how you do the memorandums. Unless you can give an answer and quote the regulation, it's better for you to be like, I'm gonna get back to you on that, and then come back with them with the answer and regulation. So like, as far as information, you should be looking it up like on some type of website or regulation, military personnel record or something. That way, the real answer and not somebody lying or giving you outdated information or someone just guessing.
Mm.
So that's the main reason why I don't want to do a part two, is because you said you've expressed interest in being an officer. It's time to start looking stuff up, and you can do a part two on what you researched, and you could put out what you researched, what you found, where you got it from. That'd be more of a benefit than me
I
rattling
understand.
off some
Okay.
stuff when, yeah.
Yeah, because that'd be beneficial. Yeah, you're right. Part two would be, all right, now since you heard from this interview, here's what I looked up. Green to Gold program, like we discussed about, OCS, like we
Mm-hmm.
discussed about. This is what you got to do. Here's the steps. Here's the links. This is what I did, what I'm going to do, and what I'm planning on doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. And you can also share the screen on where you found the stuff at. That way people can be like, oh, okay, this is where he got the information from this website, from this school and that school. And I think that'd be a good step forward in the channel to like be able to show
The
instead
information.
of just tell.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. That's it.
All right, sir. Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for enjoying my time. I know in your busy time at this late of a evening. Um, I do appreciate it. I really do. You just blow my mind about all the information you gave.
Yeah, you good, you good. And I got 4 channels. Screen learning channel is one of them. I mean, my icon is what's on the screen now. You could always, again, stop by. You can, email me. The email will be in the description, or join my Discord or whatever. If you got any questions or whatever that you can't find the answer, or if maybe just issues or something. But really, it should be. I'm curious to see your progress.
Yes,
And your journey on being able to do research and get the answers, because
because I'm going to need to do that once I'm in your position one day.
well, you need to do it now.
Yeah.
Even though you're E3, you need to know the regulation, because, for example, one regulation you want to know at like the back of your hand is like the uniform regulation, especially for those inspections. Somebody can walk up to you and be like, you jacked up, but you want to be able to be like, no, I'm not jacked up, because according to AR, what is the uniform regulation? I think it's 6. I forgot the name. I forgot the regulation, but you'll be able to come with the uniform regulation and be like, this is supposed to be this many centimeters from my collar, and then you can pull out one of those handy dandy books that they sell in the bookstore, that has the uniforms and stuff. There's actual books that they tell you about the ASU, the OCP. You don't have to mess with the mess uniform right now, but it tells you about the uniforms, and how everything is supposed to be as far as positioned and all that. That way, if somebody comes to you with a knife hand and is like, you jacked up, you can explain using regulation why you're not jacked up. Or if you are jacked up, you can explain how you're going to correct your own deficiency.
Wow.
Yeah, so definitely invest in one of those uniform books from the
books.
the
I
books.
gotta go to the bookstore. Yeah, sure. I got a lot of stuff to do in the near future. Trust me.
Yeah, and then yeah, you need that, and then even if you can get one of those pocket for PT, I forgot the name
Oh,
of it, but
I had a couple of them too. I think I do got it in my bag. I gotta look.
yeah, keep that on your, if it's possible, keep it in your on your PTs. That way you could whip it out, and so that way if someone asks you, because you got to go through a new. When I was in, they had the push up, sit up, run, but you got to go through a whole new
PT test.
AP, yeah, PT to AP
I
and
like the
CT
new
or
PT
whatever.
test. I like it.
Hey, if you like it, I love it. I know. I think it goes into effect like November of this year. I don't say
October.
like October. Okay.
Yeah.
I got a friend who's a drill sergeant at Fort Jackson, and she's talking about how crazy it is. I saw it and I was like, man, it's time for me to get out.
But
Yeah, because
the reason why I like it, because the push-up, sit-ups, is a 2-mile run. It really wasn't cutting it for me. Like for me, the new test is way better. I like it. It actually gives me more like of a accomplishment goal. Like I'm doing something.
So you got to look at it like this. You doing PT in the morning. So if you wore out in the morning from this PT test that you enjoy, you still got to go to work and do work.
Yeah.
And then, if you can score higher on the new PT test, then great. If you're like, well, I enjoy it more, it's more of a challenge, but your score is lowered, that's going to hurt your chance of getting into OCS. I mean, into ROTC, which is ROTC. So I mean, but you got to do new PT test, so I'm sure you'll do great on it.
Yeah, I did excellent on it. It just I get my runtime down because of my MOS is a longer runtime, but I need to cut it down a little bit. But other than that, I'm good. I'm good.
That's all that matters. Then that's all that matters. So yeah, almost 2 hours. I think we covered a lot of stuff. I think you're good to go.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, you'll do the research and stuff. So yeah, I'll just see you around. Subscribe to you and everything.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna subscribe to your channel in a second. And one last question before you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
What you think about the old Army pink and greens coming back?
Pink and greens.
Yes.
The green uniform?
Yes.
For the dress?
Yes.
So it's a different green. It's a different uniform. They change the uniform all the time, like every 5 years or whatever. So I mean, honestly, just looking at it from a service member's perspective, I don't like them changing the uniform because now you got to buy a whole new set of everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, whether they have families or not, they already check the check as it is, and a lot of people are going to have to use money they weren't really counting on spending to get that new uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a brand new uniform, you can't even go to a discount place and get it. So I think it's good to update the look, to always be changing. Change is good, but it just sucks because people who may not necessarily be able to afford an entire uniform are going to have to shell out that money. And I just remember I had bought a whole bunch of new uniforms, and then we switched to. No, I remember I showed up, and the AP, I think it was the PT uniform, which was the gray one.
Yeah.
And then I showed up to my unit, and they were like, even though the Army says you got to switch to the new uniform, which was black and yellow at this date, we're our brigade is doing it like this week.
Wow.
And I had to get a whole bunch of new uniforms, the new PT uniform for that. And then the OCP was rolled out. I had to get that. So it sucks having to get new uniform. But I mean, the military is always doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think it sucks because you got to shell out some new money. But
yeah.
And then plus, even the ribbons and stuff, nothing ever transfers over. So now you got this uniform that you have that you may have it good to go as far as where everything fits as far as regulation. But now you got this whole new uniform you got to figure out and you got to purchase. And but I mean, that's how it is. That's how it is. You go from one cheap uniform to another one. Well, it's not really cheap. It's actually expensive. But as far as the material, that's a different story. But that's pretty much that sucks because the military doesn't produce anything. They have all these contracts with civilians, and the civilians will always suggest new uniforms. So now, the people at the very top, like the civilians who run the military and the officers and the sergeant majors at the very top who are making a lot of money, to them, a new uniform is no big deal because they even have people. They actually have people who will put their uniform together for them. So for them, a new uniform is just like, playing dress up. Yeah. But for people on the lower level, you might be already tight with your money as it is. And now you got to, do this thing.
Cash, yeah.
Because even when people get like a uniform allowance every year, they spend that uniform allowance on bills, or they spend it on a gift for themselves, or they spend it on, some brand new boots. Because I only had the government issue boots.
You never bought the new boots?
Well, I had the government issue ones for like a few months when I first came in the Army, and then I got the custom boots from there. The Rockies, yeah. I had to have them with my feet, and they're expensive.
Yeah, they are.
They look cool, but they're expensive. And
I got some Nike boots. They are comfortable, but you can't go on the ruck march with them.
Why not?
Because you will feel everything.
Oh, okay. They're like tennis shoes or something.
Yeah, once I went to AIT and I did the first day ruck march without end of face, I said, okay, let me try to go back to the basic boots, and I was like, all right, I'm sticking with the basics until the end of this term.
Yeah, the rest of your time you're in the military, do the custom boots, but the custom boots are expensive. So your uniform allowance would go to getting custom boots, changing out the soles, getting different socks, just giving different stuff to help you out with your duty. But see, now you got to get a new uniform. Now it's kind of like what the fuck. But
Mhm.
if you don't have a family, and you're living in the barracks, then you pretty much don't have to worry about rent or anything like that. But you don't get BAH. So, you're not really getting all your money anyway. Oh, another thing that, I know you're not going to do this, but just for your listeners,
Okay.
do not get married to move out the barracks. Don't do that.
Yes, that's what I've
Don't do
pressed.
it. Yes, it's
That's what
people
I pressed
who
people.
they just people who have ruined their lives, marrying some rando to get out the barracks, and they split the BAH and BAS and all that. It messes you up because one day you're going to meet someone that you're going to be like, okay, I want to be with this person, but your wife or your husband ain't going to want to, give that money up
True.
or give up their benefits. Because if you met them and they have kids and their kids are on your deers, that's
Mm.
paper trail. Yeah, now you're gonna want to divorce this chick. She ain't gonna want a divorce. Trust me, she's gonna make it. She's gonna look at it like, okay, you want to divorce me? Well, let me go to your first sergeant and tell him you cheated on me. And now,
Wow.
yeah, you got it's I think one day instead of doing a part two, well, you know what? I'm open to doing a part two, but
Okay. Well, you can save that story for part two. I think the title I come up with the title the ups and downs of the bad side of the military side. We'll do that in part two.
okay, yeah, because Fort Hood, what
I
happened
already
to
know.
Fort Hood? I
I already know.
mean, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people do this crazy stuff. I mean, they're trying to put her down or anything, but it's a lot going on with that story. If you just really look at the last thing they put out,
Mm-hmm.
if you've been in for if you've been in for a while, you know exactly what happened, and it happens all the time. It's just that this is the first time that somebody actually, lost their life, but it happens all the time. People get married, they get out the barracks, thinking it's going to be all good. Because even if you E5, you're going to be in the barracks from E5 on down. So some people want to, get out of the barracks and live off base. So they don't have to worry about, anybody running up on them when they're off duty.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's a whole. I had to deal with that. People were coming up to the unit talking about such and such is married to me and he's trying to divorce me. And we're like, he was married. Because you only see, when it comes to paperwork, you don't really see everything.
Yeah.
Because when it comes, like, the only thing you really can see is med pros. But
Yeah.
as far as like someone having deers, having the insurance, like through Prudential, the service member insurance, you can't see that. Only thing you see is deers, which is like your dental, your medical. Have you had your HIV test? I don't know if they do COVID tests now, but
They probably
basically,
are.
okay. So only thing you can see as a commander and first sergeant is like someone's med pros.
Mm.
Like, are they green? Are they green or red on a test? Meaning if they're red, they got to get it done. If they're green, then they had it done and they're good to go. But you don't see the results. You don't see none of that. So if somebody can get married and you will never know.
Mm.
And they may sneak off the deers and get this person enrolled in deers and all that, and you might not hear anything until they're getting ready to have a divorce, or they're talking about somebody that cheated on them and stuff. And it's staff duty is a hell of a thing.
Mm.
Yes, somebody might call the staff duty desk and be talking. Well, what they'll do is the spouses, they'll come to the gate.
Mm.
And they'll complain because, like, they may have an ID to get on post if they've gone through deers, but they'll go to, because they may have never gone to his actual unit, they'll go to the gate guard and start popping off. And if it's a civilian there, they're going to call the MPs, and the MPs are going to figure out. They have ways
Say
to
that again.
figure out.
Cut out a little bit.
Oh well, so the spouse will go to like the gate guard And if it's a civilian there at the gate, which it normally is, sometimes it'll be a uniformed member. But if it's like a civilian gate guard or gate guard period, all they do is call the MPs, military police. Military police will come. They'll fill out a police report, and they'll find a way to get that to the person's unit. And then now I'm getting the call from the battalion commander that, Private Johnson is married. And his wife is talking about he ain't taking care of her, and he's been messing around with, one of these other people's soldiers, or messing around with a hooker or a prostitute. There's a whole heap of stuff. And you just that kind of stuff happens. It doesn't happen often, but it happens enough to be like, man, what's going on? And of course, majority of the time, the answer is chapter him out of the Army. That's usually what the answer is when you're dealing with spouses, because, you do a commander's inquiry, trying to, figure out his side of the story. And if he said that he slept with somebody and he was married, then it's a wrap. I mean, it might be, a field grade Article 15. Yeah. And, he still, may be in. It may just be like, his career may be ruined, but it's possible he could get chaptered out. It just depends on what hire wants to do, because more than likely the MPs are going to give the information to staff duty. And when the battalion commander knows, you're pretty much just listening to what the battalion commander, sergeant major, and the battalion XO are saying. And if they're just like, just talk to him, don't worry about it. That's also another aspect is if, let's just say, I'm not saying this happened with me, but let's just say that some people are allowed to be in trouble. Other people are protected.
Wow.
And it could be someone's PT score. If someone has a 300 PT score, some people might want to protect this person because they're one of the guys, for example, or, this person goes drinking with the officers on the weekend. They're going to protect him, which also goes into fraternization. But yeah, I don't know if I want to do a part 2 now.
You say you what?
I said I don't know if I want to do a part 2. If you're live and you're doing a part 2, I might come up and talk about stuff in general. But if you're not live, then I'm not going to schedule anything.
Okay.
So it just depends on like next time you live, whatever you got going on. If I'm free, I'll jump on, we can chop it up, and do our thing with that. But I don't. The negative thing about it is, I think it should be more positive information put out there versus worst case scenario and what ifs.
Yeah.
I think based off what I've heard so far on your channel, it's really good, really solid. Because your channel is going to grow when you grow in your military service and then beyond. So I think it's a really good thing that you're documenting everything and giving something to pass on to others that they could have to help them along their way.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm about, helping people on the way.
Yeah. So yeah, good talk too. I don't know if it's 2 hours whole time we've been talking.
Yeah, you have been my longest interviewer ever because, like I said, this was unplanned, but the information you gave was more than welcome, and I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck. I'll see you around, and thanks for chopping it up with me.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to drop you off now.
All right. Cheers.
Wow, that was very informational. That blew my mind. That was a good interview. Sir, give him the respect that he deserved. Sir, screenwriter learning, he put his video in the chat room, so y'all could go look at his video, go subscribe to him, look at him, on the playback and stuff like that. But I one day I'm gonna be in his shoes, and I really did gain a lot from that. And I hope everybody else that does watch this on the playback really does get the playback and understand what he's talking about. So, wow, that's all I gotta say. So we're about to get up out of here. Been on 2 hours now. And in closing, let's get out of here. And good afternoon, good morning, good evening to on your side of the world.
Drive on, first platoon.
Drive on, first platoon.
Drive on, first platoon.
Drive on, first platoon.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Bullets flying all around.
Bullets flying all around.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Second platoon will bring you home.
Second platoon will bring you home.
Drive on, second platoon.
Drive on, second platoon.
Drive on, second platoon.
Drive on, second platoon.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Someday you'll be all alone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Way out in a combat zone.
Bullets flying all around.
Bullets flying all around.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Third platoon will bring you home.
Third platoon will bring you home.
Drive on, third platoon.
Drive on, third platoon.
Drive on, third platoon.
Drive on, third platoon.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Way out there in a combat zone.
Way out there in a combat zone.
Bullets flying all around.
Bullets flying all around.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Better keep your head to the ground.
Don't you worry about being alone.
Don't you worry about being alone.
All your buddies will bring you home.
All your